Hi, my name is Jonathan, and welcome to the Haystack. Just yesterday, I saw a video from Karen Hyatt, who is a proponent for the Joseph Smith being monogamous, not polygamous. Anyways, she did a video where she stated that she just was excommunicated. She said that she had just come back from seeing Truth and Treason, the story about Helmut Hübner, a Latter-day Saint in Nazi Germany who spoke against the Nazi regime and was executed for that. And then immediately after she sees this, you're feeling pumped up, after seeing that integrity, you're like, yeah, stand up against the man. And then she gets brought in and questioned by the stake presidency to about that, and she shared that in the end they decided to excommunicate her. I didn't know that not believing Joseph Smith practicing, maybe it's something else. Maybe there's more to the story that I don't know, that none of us know. I mean, probably because she talks about it, has written books about how she doesn't believe with Brian Hale's conclusions that the church uses. Because they say, no, this is the historical record. Thing is, go back to what, like 1850, she would have been, it would have been anybody saying that he was polygamous would be the excommunicated ones, not her. So that's ridiculous. To have a difference, where do we draw the line? Do we draw the line at, like, well, if you don't believe the Exodus happened at this particular date, then we should excommunicate you? I don't believe that. I think it's ridiculous. I think there's lots of people that have the wrong dates of things, but it's a historical issue. I think it's because we have people like Brian Hales, who has manufactured this ultimatum that if you don't believe in the conclusions that I have, which I'm claiming is the absolute historical record, then you are on your road to apostasy. The thing is that if that's the case, then Karen would have apostatized. Instead, she's being kicked out. Yet she's still faithful, does everything. She's still going to clean the church on Saturday, even though she's being excommunicated. Talk about Christ-like love and service. Oh, but Johnny, maybe there's something you don't know. Yeah, I'm sure there's things I don't know. But I sure hope that this doesn't start a precedence for, if anybody disagrees with us, we'll just excommunicate. Because it's not a temple question. It's not a baptismal interview question. I have no personal testimony of polygamy at all. Like, at all. It was me actually engaging in the church's position on it that I was excited. I was going to do a video supporting it. But then when I looked into the Joseph Smith papers and all the links provided by the church through Brian Hales and Brian Hales' website, I was like, that's the conclusion that they came up with? Because I believe something was revealed. I believe something was revealed to Joseph, such as sealings. But the thing is you can't deny this, is whatever was revealed to Joseph was lived differently by Joseph than it was by Brigham Young. What the two did was not the same at all, in the least bit. And Brigham Young and others did not have the same experience that Joseph did. So they have something of a different experience, obviously different timing. And we say, well, it's Joseph Smith only denied being a polygamist because they would have killed it, which they did anyways. This is why everyone says, oh, they burned down the printer shop because they're exposing his polygamy. No, not that. But even if that were the case, and polygamy were just accepted completely after that, we have on record John Taylor and Brigham Young denying living polygamy when they were living it. So that is them lying. Yes, we do know that, and that's not. I'm not tearing down the church. I'm not an apostasy. Yes, they are prophets. But that's just an unavoidable fact. And we're okay with saying that to Joseph, saying that about Joseph, Emma, and Hiram, that they denied it. And in fact, they hated it, that they said it was evil, it was awful. But they lived it in secret. It just doesn't make sense. The people who claim to have children through Joseph, did not. It was disproven through DNA, that showing that it was a lie. So I don't know. I'm unconvinced. I would love to be convinced. Please convince me. The thing is, I'm unconvinced. And then this mob of, polygamy denier. You're a polygamy denier. Well, I'm not denying anything. I'm just saying I'm unconvinced. I'm unconvinced by the source material. I'm unconvinced by the apologists engaging in it, who are criticizing anyone that doesn't agree with them, and making fun of them. Yeah. The thing is the church would have absolutely been destroyed if we did not give up polygamy. So I don't believe that it's that manufactured ultimatum that Brian Hales has created, that you must be on the road to apostasy if you do not believe that Joseph Smith had relations with other women, including underage girls. I don't believe it for a second. I believe he was completely monogamous with his relationships. I believe that he had some form of ceilings revealed to him, but I absolutely do not believe that he engaged in anything inappropriate with anyone. And he only had those relations with Emma. And so far the evidence backs that up. So, yes, something was revealed, but the way it was lived after was completely different. And the way it was being lived by Brigham Young, John Taylor, had to be stopped, or else the Lord would have allowed the church to be completely destroyed. So maybe tolerate it for a short time to preserve things, but I'm completely unconvinced, and I'm surprised that someone could get excommunicated for a different opinion, or maybe it's because she was writing books or something. Having a different opinion with getting books out. But then we have that with LGBT activists in the church, that there's no repercussions. They're allowed to do whatever they want, and we're playing patty cake and bending over backwards to accommodate people violating the law of chastity, but then excommunicating someone who said that they believed the prophet Joseph Smith Jr. Is there more to the story? I hope so. But where does the line get drawn? Is it, if you don't believe that the Book of Mormon happened in Mesoamerica, you're not going to be excommunicated? Is that the future? Are we in the 1840s church now in that term, in terms of believing where geographically it took place? church has no opinion, but we throw all this funding and support all the scholars of one side. I find it unique that it seems to be the same people who are well, I'm not going to get into that. What if I get excommunicated for having an opinion? Oh my gosh. Maybe, who knows? I hope not. I hope that's not the direction things are going. But it's sad. It's sad that this would happen. And I hope that there's more to the story. One lady said that Karen, she was saying, Karen, if you're a polygamy denier, you're a traitor to the restoration. A traitor to the restoration, because we're unconvinced by the source material and the evidence, and we see that there is clear bias. We see evidence that Brigham Young and John Taylor had to fudge things a little in order to preserve the church and themselves. But that's only a good excuse you could use for Joseph. Only he could be the liar, nobody else, even though we have proof of the other people doing it. And I'm not saying the church is fallen, which is the ultimatum that Brian Hales gives, saying, I think that was not the correct way to live whatever was revealed. Elder Anderson stated that true doctrine is taught consistently and repeatedly by its leaders, and not found in some obscure passage. Well, that's the thing, is polygamy is not taught consistently. It's not something that we live. Half the things that we had to abide, like the interpretation, understanding of Brigham Young back then, is no longer upheld today. So things with blacks in the priesthood, with needing to be in a polygamous marriage in order to go to the celestial kingdom or obtain the highest glory, to be exalted. That once was called a requirement, but no longer. So there's missteps there. And I think the reason that they put such a huge consequence to this is because Brian Hales has artificially created this ultimatum because of the way his mind works. That you have to believe this completely, or it's all a lie. But that's not how it's worked in the past. I mean, Jacob, Abraham, they were never commanded to take on different wives. It was the circumstances that they were pitted into, and it brought in lots of unnecessary grief and hardship, but the Lord still used it. But it wasn't meant to be maintained forever. I think it's the same here. So, I mean, what do you guys think? This is sad. This is awful. Anyways, take care, guys.